So 5 times Eretz begins the sentence, right? A word like that repeats over and over again, and begins a clause, is called anaphora. Anaphora in Hebrew.
What is it called?
It's anaphora. It's like a poetic technique.
Anaphora. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Now, there's a connection here, and there's a structure. There's a beautiful structure here that is hidden. If we look at the beginning, the first and the last, what do you see, right? Tova. Right? That's the opening phrase. Hashem is bringing you to a good land without describing anything about it, just Eretz Tova. And now, if I look at the last one,
Eretz Tova.
Eretz Tova, right? So opening and closing is discussing the land that's good, that Hashem is bringing us there, or the land Hashem Atalach, right? The land that God gave us. Okay. The first one is just introducing one. I'm introducing it. I don't know. It's good. I'm telling you, it's good. The last one is after it's already. I already told you how good the land is. Okay. Now look at the second one. So it's describing what?
The geography.
Geography, and I would say natural resources of the land, right? It has rivers, springs, from the valleys and the mountains.
Yeah.
Parallel to that, look at the second to last one.
Talking about also like the natural resources.
Also talking about natural resources of the land, right? That its rocks are strong, and you can and you could extract metal, right? So 2 and 6 are parallel and talking about the natural resources.
Like copper, why not like gold? Like the mountains you'll mine, like you're saying the mountains you'll mine copper, right? No gold, like? I feel like it should be gold now, like great land.
So we'll see. If we talk about gold, gold is usually acquisition. In other words, what we're talking about here, barzel, nechoshet, allow you to make kelim, different sorts of utensils that you need to work the land, and for other uses. Gold, silver is more of things that is a value that you acquire. Yeah, so that's going to come up later. Okay. Now we go to the middle Pesukim.
So Eretz
Kitash, right? The Sarah, give Telefon, Eretz Hashem Vash, and then Eretz Velomiskot V'chabalech, and the Tachsad Kolba. So that has Shivatim, meaning what grows from the land, right? The agricultural products of Eretz Yisrael.
I'm sorry, what's the translation of word miskinut? Like Hazike say?
Good question. So some explain miskinut like behaset. Lo miskinut meaning you won't be missing anything. You won't be miskin, right? That's just from Lashon Hisaron. Rabbi Jack has an interesting explanation. Get it here, b'miskinut. Bekimutz v'tzimtzum. Cheap, right? Komes, meaning you won't eat in a limited manner.
Oh,
Interesting. In Arabic, the word masik means to hold on to something. It's in your hand. Masik. So it could be that you're holding a limited amount, right? Ibn Ezra says bedalut va'aniyut, in poverty. So that's shilu b'miskinut tochal b'lechem. So I have a parallel also between eres hita sa'ura and eres shilu b'miskinut tochal b'lechem, right? Because hita sa'ura is what you produce the lechem with. And then I have the three fruits.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I have in the middle Eretz Shemen Udvash.
Seems like that should be like connected to like the other one, no?
To what?
It should be connected to Eretz Chita Sarah. We gave into an Arima.
Right. Well, it should. And the question is, what if it's Meshivat Haminim? Why do I have another Eretz? Right. That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
It's part of the Shivat Haminim. But that Eretz is very important. Yeah.
Yeah, for the
there's a story in the Gemara Berachot, right? You learned the story?
No, it's there.
So the rule is Kol ha-mugdam b'pasuk,
Yeah.
mugdam lebracha.
Okay.
So meaning, I'm going to make a beracha on mezonot, hita sa'ora, before gefen, and I'm going to make a gefen before fruit. Because it's hita sa'ora, that's mezonot. Gefen is borepli gefen, and then te'ena rimon is borepli ha'ayetz. But even within fruit, which fruit should I have? Should I make the beracha on? If I have fruit in front of me, which one should I make the beracha on? Right? I have two fruits. I have figs and I have pomegranates.
Yeah.
Mugdam b'pasuk, mugdam beracha teaches me you would make the beracha on the figs rather than the pomegranate, because it's earlier in the pasuk. It's more hashuv.
Okay. Good? Yeah, then we have the other areas comes to teach me that those two go before.
Right. So that's the story in the Gemara. Rav Hasdan, Rav Hamnuna were eating together, and they brought timarim and rimonim. So Rav Hamnuna took a date, and he made the beracha on the date. And Rav Hasdan said, "What happened to the rule of Rav Yosef? Kol mugdam pasuk kodem lebracha." So he told them, "No, zeh sheni la'aretz, v'zeh hamishi la'aretz."
So why didn't the pasuk just order it that way? Just to one eretz chita sarah, zeh shemen udvash, v'gefen u'tnam.
Good question. We'll get to that in a minute. We'll try to address that. So he told him, if they heard that he loved that the Hidush so much, he said, he didn't live with him close together. He says, I wish I had iron legs so I'd be able to come and hear you all the time. Okay? Meaning he taught him that eretz is important. There's an interesting comment of Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky, Sefer Emet LeYaakov. Here. הנה, יסיר ארץ חיטה סערה, make it up bigger. Give it an answer. הנה בגמרא ברכות, איש הפסוק זה מחולק לשניים, right? It's divided into two. ולכן כשיש לפניו שערה וזית, מקדים ברכה לזית. The שערה הוא שני, right? What if I have a tie? He's talking about. If I have שערה, and I have not a tie, I have שערה, and I have zayit. Which one comes first?
So wouldn't like the barley you make into like something mizonot or something, or hamotzi?
Yeah.
So wouldn't that go first before anything?
Well, he's saying pasuk ze mechulak l'shnayim is divided into v'lachen kashesh lefanav se'ara v'zayit magdim b'racha l'zayit because eretz zet is the first one. Se'ara hu sheni l'tevat eretz v'zayit hu rishon l'tevat eretz. that would be an interesting exception to the rule, right? If that's the case. And we don't eat sarah usually. We don't eat barley.
Don't eat plain barley.
Right. Nobody eats barley. So, and even it has to be cooked, right? But plain barley, it's got to be made into like a mizonot type of item.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would be adama. But he's saying that the pasuk is divided into two. Now, what kind of division is it? What's the difference between Eretz Sarah give it to Rimon and Eretz Shem Dvash? Difference between the first five and the last two.
Those are more like the Chitat Sarah like Geffen. Like Chitat Sarah grows on the ground. Geffen's like a vineyard, also like the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Dates grow on a tree. I don't know how dates grow.
Dates on a tree, date tree, yeah, it's alright.
Pomegranate's also on a tree.
Mm-hmm. Oh, figs. Tenas figs. Figs grow on a tree.
Figs.
Okay.
Also, I think the last two you make like oil or honey out of. Just like you extract something from it more.
From what?
Like the olives you make oil, and the figs you're gonna make
the dates. The dates.
You make honey.
Exactly.
You make honey out of it.
Yeah. So if we look, she doesn't have any comment on these pesukim except one. You see that she zet shemen. What does he explain?
Zet shemen. The team Haosim shemen.
Yes.
Olives that make oil.
Olives that make oil. What does that mean? Zetim ha'osim shemen. Right? Why does he have to explain that?
Because he's probably just trying. Because otherwise there shouldn't be a chiluk between the first eretz and the last eretz.
Right. Good. So you jump to step. I mean, first, she is hukshalo something, right? Because everything in the pasuk, I'm just listing the item. Ita, seora, gefen, te'ena rimon. It should have just said eretz what?
Eretz Chitas has zet shemen with vash gefen.
It shouldn't have said zet shemen.
It just said
should have just said zayit, like it says te'ena rimon. Right? I'm coming to talk about the land and all of the good produce of the land. So why do you write shemen? Just write zayit. So Rashi is coming to answer that, right? All the other ones, the praises of the fruit itself is being praised. The fruit itself is being praised. Here, it's not the fruit itself is being praised. Rather, it's the olive that's coming out of the fruit.
Oh, so why with the honey it doesn't say
Hold on, because the olives themselves, they don't taste good, right? You take an olive off the tree itself, it doesn't taste good until you pickle it and so on. So therefore, she is saying that the shemen is the praise. Okay, now, there's another place in the Torah where she comments on this zet shemen.
It's in Shemot, no?
Look at where?
Shemot?
No.
No.
What's in Shemot?
There's
Eretz about halav udvash.
Ah.
But not zet shemen.
Vayikra.
It's in Perashat Kitavo.
Kitavo, yeah.
Perek Kavav.
Do I have Kitavo on this book?
Pasuk Bet.
Perek what? Kavav?
Perek Kavav, Pasuk Bet. So here, she says on zet shemen, Zayit aguri, sheshamno agur betocho. We're talking about olives. Agur means gathered in one spot. So we're talking about olives whose oil is absorbed in one spot. Unlike usual olives, to get out the oil, I have to squeeze it. I have to put it in an olive press to get out all the oil. Here, as if the oil is like sitting there in the olive, ready to come out. Okay?
Okay.
So I have here, I would say, it's like a sort of transition. Because if I look at the beginning, right, look at before Erez Hashem and Dvash, what am I talking about? What is the Torah talking about?
In Perashat Eqeb?
Yeah, to Eqeb now.
I'm talking about like the water.
Yeah.
How the land is good and how like natural resource is good. You have the water.
Good.
The water is probably gonna like plant and everything.
Good. So I'm talking about all of the natural resources and produce of the land that God is giving us.
Where in this passage?
And it has all of these things.
In Perashat Eqeb, what does it say?
So that's the first half, right? And if Erez Hashem and Dvash is the center, the first half is things that Hashem put into Eretz Yisrael, the land is producing things that are there. Now, if I look at the second half, meaning after Eretz Hashem and Dvash, I'm talking about already Eretz Hashem lo b'miskenu tocha b'lechem. So what am I talking about?
Like
lechem. How do you have lechem?
You gotta work for it. Like
right, you gotta work. That's human involvement, right? Human production. And then abaneha barzel, again, how do you get the barzel? You have to use the barzel out. It's the same thing. Yes?
Yeah.
So I have first half things made from God, second half things that we take and work on, enhance, modify, where there's human involvement. And in the middle, I have Erez Hashem and Dvash.
It's going to go like both ways.
Because that's the transition, right? Yeah. And that's why it's the affair that she explains in two places. One, the fact that Ki'ilu, there's already oil hanging out in the Zayit. Yes?
Yeah.
And here's the team Ha'osim Shemen. But of course, we have to be involved in the process to make it actual oil, right? I don't, you poke the olive and the oil comes out. It's as if, again, it's like in the middle. Understand? Mm-hmm. Meaning the oil is there, but you got to bring it out.
Yeah.
So that's why it's Erez Hashem and Udvash, same thing with Dvash and the date, right? The date and the honey that's contained within the date. So that's why these two are in the middle. Good?
Yeah.
This is Rav Sam. It puts it together nicely as an article. Also brought in his Sefer. But that's why these two are in the middle.
And the reason it just says Devash, not like on date honey, is because like it's obvious. But since you tell me olive oil, so I'm gonna know honey.
It's also obvious if we're talking about edits, because the only other type of Devash is what?
Bee honey. So
right, bee honey.
Oh, because maybe the land has bees and bees produce honey.
But that's a step. Okay, I mean the land didn't produce the bees, right? So it's not as direct as the land that produced the timari. Okay. The Mefarshim also picked up on, of course, the repetition of Eretz over and over again. Rabbeinu Bahye also broke it up. It broke it up a little bit differently. First he says, Hashem is bringing you to a land filled with water immediately. That's the first description. Because it's the direct opposite of the desert, right, which had no water. Again, for fruit that you don't find in the desert. Okay, go ahead.
והזכיר בכאן עיקר המזונות כולן. ושלושה פסוקים אלו הזכיר 6 פעמים ארץ. 2 פעמים בפסוק ראשון, כי השם אלוקיך מביך את הארץ, טובה, ארץ נחל מים. וכן בפסוק שני, ארץ חיטה שרה, ארץ זית שמן ודבש. וכן בפסוק שלישי, ארץ אשר לא מסכנות תאכל בה, לחם, ארץ אשר אבניה ברזל וגומר. ויש 6 פעמים ארץ בשלושה פסוקים. בפסוק רביעי הזכיר הארץ הוא שאמר, ואכלת ושבעת וברכת את השם אלוקיך, על הארץ הטובה אשר נתן לך.
Right. So he broke it up by Pesukim, right? Not and is beginning of a phrase, but the Pesukim. So Pesuk Zion has 2 N's, and Het has 2, and Tet has 2.
Yeah, they'll each have 2.
And then Yod has 1. And he said this is all talking about Ikad of Mezonot, or Ikad of all fruit groups, right? Mezonot Kulan. Okay. And I guess we view the water, right? That's part of, what we need for food. Okay, now, היה
להזכיר 6 פעמים ארץ כנגד 6 אקלימים.
המתפשטים ממנה.
והשותים מתמסיתה.
תמסיתה.
What's אקלימים?
So that's a good question. Aklim, I would explain climate. Some explain as like continents, because he's talking about 7 continents.
Right.
Yeah, and some explain climate.
בלשון ידיעה, וכן דרשו המזל של הארצותיהן, וכוונה להם 7 אקלימים, שהעולם השפל נחלק בהן. אלוקים השביעי הזה שברכו. דוד אמר עליו שלום.
דוד המלך עליו שלום.
Wait, so they knew there were 7 continents?
If you explain the claim as continents, it's based on what he's quoting here is based on Hazal, I believe it's in the Zohar, that there's Shiva Aklimi. Okay?
Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So that's another approach. And Dad Zikani Balatos Food says Shiva Pa'amim Keneged Eretz Shiva Amamin. You're coming to a land that has Shiva Amamin, but Kenegdam, you have 7, qualities of the land that are good, kind of. So that's like, offsets the fact that you have to conquer it. 7 nations, because you have 7, Shibahim, basically, of the land. It's interesting also, by the way, 7 times Eres and Shivat Aminim.
Yeah.
Right? I just hit that just hit me now.
A lot of sevens.
Exactly. Okay, which of course is also 7 is the natural cycle, right? Natural cycle is 7. Shabbat, Shemitah, Yovel.
Make a connection through everything.
Yeah, connects everything. Okay. Let's move on now to the next set of Pesukim. Go ahead.
הישמר לך, כן תשכח את ה' אלוהיך, לבלתי שמוע מצוותיו, משפטיו וחוקותיו, אשר אנוכי מצווך היום. כן תאכל ושבעת, ובתים טובים תבנה וישבת, ובקריך ושונאיך ירבה עיון, וכסף וזהב ירבה לך, וכל אשר לך ירבה. וירם לבביך ושכחת את ה' אלוהיך, המוציאך מארץ מצרים מבית עבדים. המוליכך במדבר הגדול והנורא, נחש, שרף ועקרב ושנמאון, אשר אין מים, ומוציא לך מים מסור החלמיש.
Okay. So now it's a warning. Yeah? Be careful. Don't forget God. Okay. Yeah.
I like Sefer Devarim, like that repeats the same thing over and over.
It's a lot. It is over and over again, but there's many different contexts to it. I mean, even this Hisham and Lecha.
Yeah, but it's all the same thing. Watch the learn or else. Like,
it's same thing, but there's nuances in each section. Why Moshe Rabbeinu,
I feel like you could just like clump it all, like make your point and do each nuance in like one.
Yeah, that's why I have to learn. I have to learn so the Devarim carefully, and the Mefashim obviously are dealing with it at each point, and you have to understand each ne'um, each speech of Moshe Rabbeinu, and the purpose of each speech. It's broken up into different speeches. So it's
how many different speeches?
What?
How many different speeches does he have?
Not sure how many altogether. This is already the 8th one.
8th one from the beginning. All right.
From the beginning. So you have to look at each ne'um and the purpose of each ne'um. So yeah, it does seem, as you're reading through it, but I hear it in shul every week. It's you're like, okay, yeah, we got it. Don't worship. Each one has a point. Okay. Here.
What's a good way to like to figure out what the point is? Let's say, like, does anyone like any Mefashim talk about it, like, straight out, like?
Yes, but you'll find more in the more recent,
like modern,
like Da Mikra. You'll find Da Mikra will break it up that way. And if you look at things from the Gush Hasyon website, things like that, things from that school, Herzog, they'll focus more on it. But yeah, there are. Just to look when you're learning, you have to look at the Perashiot. Not Perashat Shavua, but like Duhas, Duma. You have to look at that. So here, there's a reason why this is coming immediately after what we said. Yeah. Let's look at your Gillian. So what's the concern over here, right?
Pentochal is about how about into Timnevi Ashata. You're gonna bless you. You can eat, you get full, and you can build some nice houses and dwell.
Yeah. Then what's gonna happen?
You're gonna get a lot of money and cattle. Everything you have, you're just gonna have a lot. You be rich. Then what happens? You get like haughty. Your heart's gonna raise your heart. You're gonna forget Hashem. That you got that took you out of Egypt.
Okay. So if you look here, there's stages. Stage 1, is you're going to eat from the land that Hashem gave you, right? In the land we just spoke about above, you're going to eat and be full. Then, Batim Tovim Tibnei Shafta, you're going to build good homes. Where are the homes being built from?
Wood, the stones.
The Abaneh, right? Abaneh Batnel, right? The Abanim that you took from the land.
Yeah.
Okay. So that pasuk, you're taking things that are there on the land, and you're using it and you're enjoying it. Now, next pasuk, is talking about cattle, which aren't really connected to the land. Yeah?
Yeah.
And if you're eating it, you're having meat, but again, not attached to the land. And then I talk about kesef as a hab, which is just wealth.
You have to like mine that, I think, now. That's
so we're getting
that comes from the land.
Yeah, but not necessarily. I mean, you could find things in the land, but it also comes from trading and wealth.
You mine these stuff. I don't know. You mine gold.
Yeah, but again, there's markets for
Yeah. Okay.
silver, gold. Again, there are more acquisitions like money, right? So Kezer Zahav is the money of our days. So the progression is like from the land to a little bit like being disattached from the land. Call all that you're connected to the land, you remember God, right? You mean you recall this came from the land that God gave us. But the moment you start disattaching yourself from the land, you start forgetting about God, right?
Yeah.
So the first step is tocha v'sabata, and you don't do what the pasuk right beforehand said. Right? What was the pasuk beforehand? Here it's just tocha v'sabata, and you don't acknowledge God. And then you have more cattle, and you have more gold and silver, and eventually you kind of have a disconnect with the land and what God did, and you forget what God did, and you come to Pasuk Zayin. That is the progression over here. Yeah?
Yeah.
So that's the Hisham Elechem. And it's a very specific warning that Moshe Rabbeinu was giving, because Eretz Yisrael is going to be such a plentiful land and has so many natural resources and produce. Here's the danger.
So is it saying like don't have a lot of cattle, a lot of money because this is gonna happen, or saying like if you get this a lot of cattle and money, just don't detach from the land?
Good question. So the way the Saja Gaon reads it. Second. Here. Hishamer im tishkach et Hashem Elokecha. Right. He's saying, don't do this. Shelo tochal v'tisba v'tibnei batim v'teshe bahem karcha v'soncha yirbu kezev v'zahav yirbela v'chol rechushecha yirbeh v'romem otcha libecha asher v'seicha yemestan b'ta'abdut. Don't let this happen to you. It's not saying don't have batim tovim and so on, but it's why at the beginning Hishamer and Pen, right? Make sure that this does not happen. And that's the end you'd have v'zacharta. Rather, remember ki hu hanoteh lecha koch la'asot chayil. Ve'al tomar, he says on Zion, was ve'amarta b'al babecha kochi ve'osem edi. Don't do that. Al tomar b'nafshecha ki hosi ve'osem edi ve'yocholet li hiknali. Okay? And then pasuk het v'zacharta aval tizkor et Hashem Elohecha. So that's how he reads it. It's a comment from Rav Huffman, Rabbi Tzvi Huffman. He's a more recent commentator. You've heard of him? Nachum Leibowitz likes to quote him a lot.
Who?
Rabbi Tzvi Huffman.
Who quotes him?
Nachum Leibowitz quotes him.
Who's Nachum Leibowitz?
Oh, you don't know Nachum Leibowitz?
What?
Read this. Pentishkach otaz haran.
Can you just make it a little bigger?
Yeah, sure. Hold on. Okay.
פנדשך אותה עשרה כמו למעלה. גם שם נזכר החושש שמחמת העושר שהוא את השם חס ושלום. אולם שם נזכר עושר כנקנה לא יהיה, כמו שהיה המצב מיד עם כניסתם לארץ. הפסוק הזה מדבר על התקופה יותר מאוחרת. כאשר יעבדו ישראל את האדמה ויאכלו את פרי יגיעם, אז יש לכו שמא יעלו על דעתם לייחס את ההסחה לכוחם הם ושכחו את השם. לפי זה מציע...
Okay, right, so there's a pasuk in Perek Vav, pasuk Yudbet, it says Hisham lecha pedish kachat Hashem. But there's a difference between the two. And over there, it's also because you're going to be wealthy.
There's like when you first get into...
There's what you get when you come in, because it says there, Hashem is bringing you to Arim Gedolot, Tovot, Asher lo banita, Batim elot kotu, Asher lo mileta, Ubarot hasuim, Asher lo hatzafta, Keramim vizitim, Asher lo natata, Vechata v'sabata. So that's a different concern. That's when you come in. Here, it's after you come in and you work the land and you're enjoying the land. Now, what's the concern?
Now, like after a while, you're gonna get like rich and like you build up your wealth and like a lot of time.
You're successful because of your own efforts.
Yeah. וזה מציע גדול למעלה מפני שכחת השם מתוך קולות ראש ושיות לב. מכאן מציע גדול מפני גאות וגסות הרוח.
There, it's you just forget about God, pretty much. Yeah, you're in a good spirits. Kalut Rosh. Here, it's from your Ga'ava. That's the Ga'ava. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's more like a Hodi type of thing, like.
Yeah, Hodi because of what you accomplished.
Because we have a whole nice, like, have a nice house. It's like, it's for me, like, I made $1 billion. It's all me, like.
Did you? Right, I did it. I took the land. I made it into whatever bread. I worked the land. I had cattle. I had this. I had that. That's why I'm wealthy. You forget that God gave it to you. That's why Bikurim is so important. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I live in Ramban.
וזכרת את השם אלוקיך כי הוא נותן לך כוח לעשות חיל, ידוע כי ישראל גיבורים מאנשי חיל למלחמה, כי נשארו לאריות ולזאב יטרף, מחנה כנען במלחמה, נזכור אותם. על כן אמר אם תחשוב כוחי ועצם ידי, עשה לי את החיל הזה, נזכור השם שהוציא אותם במצרים. לא יהיה לך השם כוח ועצם יד כלל. נזכור עוד כי מדבר אשר אין לאל ידיך לחיות, שם עשית לך כל צריך לה. אם כן, גם החיל הזה, אשר עשית בכוחך, השם הוא שנתן לך כוח, כאשר עשית אותו. אם תשכח את השם, יכלה כוחך ושעריך ותעבד כאשר עבדו הם. כי כל עוזבי השם יכלו.
Right. So, Hashem is the one giving you Ha'el. It says that Bnei Yisrael were strong. Giborim anshe Ha'el milchama. Right? They're compared to lions and wolves. And they beat Malchekana milchama. So don't think you did it. Right? Remember, Hashem took you out of Egypt, and you didn't have any power in Egypt. And remember, in the Midbar, Hashem gave you everything you needed. So what you did here, Hashem gave that to you as well. So he's talking about a military victory, right?
Yeah.
That in other words, why when you came into the land, the fact that you conquered the Canaanim might lead you to think, we have Koach. That's the Koach that he's talking about. Ken?
Yeah.
Not necessarily the success that you have when you're on the land, right? That Hoffman said that was the connection. Ken? Doing it as military power that you had, that you're in the land and you're able to conquer and dwell in the land. Remember that is only because of God, because in the desert you didn't have that, and in Egypt you didn't have any of that. So recognize that was from God too.
He's going on the word like kochi, like my strength, like Like I fought the war, like.
And Hayel as well, right? And Shehayel.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. But it's nice also when you Huffman's Pshat is nice when you view it, and especially when you view the two sections, parallel to each other, meaning Edison, what it had, what it gave you, the resources, and then what you could take it to, right, where it can get you, and then you could forget Hashem. That's the flowing Pshat that comes out of it. Okay, we'll stop here.
Thank you, Rabbi.
No problem. Nice learning with you. And,
where's everyone else at?
I don't know. Last week I was after the fest.
Yeah.